Video referrals in hockey.
For me, video. I've been really lucky because I've seen video referral from the start. So I've been through everything, every different incarnation of it, and every different script, and every different problem you have. It boils down to, in the end of the day, video referrals boils down to money. It's really simple. If you have enough cameras, if you've got super slow-mo, particularly in hockey, and then video referral is great. As soon as you begin to compromise that, and that's just down to finance, it becomes more and more difficult. So once you don't have a super slow-mo camera, once you don't have the right angle, if you diminish the number of cameras you've got around the pitch, if you don't have the right angle for the video umpire, it diminishes the product, and it makes it more and more difficult for the person in the box to see what's happening and to make the right decision. I think it's a massive positive, and it's been far more positive than negative. While I also understand that there've been some challenges in there. Most of the time, it works really well, and I think the work that gets done by the various umpires manager about making sure the process works and make sure the language is right are making it better and better. But in actual, most of the time, it's down to the technology. It's down to the number of cameras and the type of cameras they've got that make it. When you've got the super slow-mo cameras on the D, when you've got all the right angles, it works really well. As soon as you don't have that, it becomes more and more difficult because you'd be amazed at the way a camera angle changes what you see. Again, and there's lots of different videos and things out there, but it's incredible how a camera angle the wrong camera angle can make you think you've seen something that you haven't, or something that's not there. And you see something, it's definitely done that, but then if you see a different angle, say from behind or a super slow, actually it's not quite the same. And I think so from my point of view, the issue, if you do it properly with all the right cameras and the big expensive super slow-mos, it works a treat. Once you diminish that, it becomes more and more difficult, or more and more challenging for the video umpires.
I quite like the new adaptation or development in terms of, before it would always be whatever the video umpire would say was taken for gold. Now they're allowing the on-pitch umpire to have a bit more of a conversation about, no, but I gave it for this reason, or I allowed that to develop, or
the two things I would say in that. One, I think it's a good development that the on-field umpire is saying what they're doing, and the other part is confidence within the team. And again, that just sometimes that takes time to build. I was a fan of having dedicated video umpires, because that was the role. That again comes down to expense. Having a dedicated video umpire that's there for 2 weeks financially doesn't make sense. Again, if you're speaking to the likes of Andy Mayer or Carl Metchett, you begin to see, it's like anything. The more you do it, the better you get at it. Particularly when you're coming with that that knowledge base. Again, if it's the first time you've ever done it, it's quite intimidating. You're sitting in a van with a camera on you with multiple feeds, and if you've never done it before, that's quite intimidating. If you're a young umpire, or it's maybe your first tournament, there's a lot to take in there, and you've got to make sure you stick to the script. And the chances are that any decision you're making is not going to be a mundane decision. It's going to be a big decision. It's going to be an important decision, and so it's quite hard. And again, I think the changes are good, and I think the umpires manager and the team and the teams behind that are working hard to improve it all of the time to make it better, both in terms of what the end product looks like for somebody watching, and also the people on the stand, because that's what it's about. But and also getting it right.
So in terms of getting it right, and considering the game as a spectacle for fans, both in the stadium and watching on the telly.
Yeah.
Should there be a time limit?
We had lots of conversations over the years about that, in different events and blah, blah, blah. At one point, there was a feeling that if you can't come to a decision within, say, 30 seconds or a minute, then you come back with no decision possible. Now, that's not the situation as it stands. But there is an argument that says if you've got 18,000 people watching a game of hockey and they're waiting 2 or 3 minutes for a decision, yes, you want to get it right, but all that happens is that unless you get somebody in this, so different venues, different things. So unless you get somebody building the atmosphere for that period of time, the atmosphere drops, and you then builds back up. Having said that, you have to go back to it's about getting the decision right, and most of the time, the decisions are made reasonably quickly. And I don't know the exact numbers, but again, I think most of the time the decisions are right. I mean, again, sometimes you get it wrong, and that's just one of those things. But most of the time, I think it operates fairly well. Which hasn't answered your question. I understand. It's like I get.
And for more on video umpires and referrals, we can refer to our episode with Andy Mayer, who will be part of this series.
Right.
And Andy is a Scottish-British umpire who specialised in video umpiring. He was the floating head.
To be fair, he was a pretty good umpire. He was a very, very good umpire as well.
Yes. Towards the end of his umpiring career, he did seem to be picking up a lot of.
And again, going back to what I said previously, having a specialist who both understood the game and also communicated well. So it was a very, 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 very good communicator in terms of the umpires. That meant that they had trust in what he was saying to them. And I think that's very, very important. And I think that's why I think he was very effective in that role. But there's no question he was excellent in that role.
Tao MacLeod, producer of the Half Court Press podcast, has published a book via Amazon. A Little Book About Hockey is now available from the Amazon website.